Vivek, let me start with you actually. It has been a fascinating journey for Grip, I would say. I read your recent article and I think you guys have grown tremendously during the pandemic, and that's when you guys started as well. And another interesting thing, coming from a finance background myself, and I used to deal with a lot of alternative asset classes in my earlier career. You brought a very relevant asset class, I would say, right, for retail investors. And they are always in this constant quest to graduate from this world of FDs and bank account deposits to more high yield instruments. And you come at a very sweet spot of giving them a very relevant instrument with a moderate risk profile. So first, maybe I wanted to ask you, Vivek, how did you even stumble upon this idea of grip? And you can talk us through your journey with your founders, and especially this asset class of leasing models and inventory models and assets around that. Yeah.
Sure, sure, Shrikant. I'll talk about that. Let me just give you a brief background about all three of us founders. Me, Nikhil, and Ashish. We are the three co-founders in Grip. And to our amusement as well, only Nikhil comes from a financial investment background. Both me and Ashish are engineers. We come from different backgrounds, and we have seen more startups, but not the investment and financial world as such. Our journey, we three met when we were working at Chalo, where Nikhil was one of the co-founders there, and Ashish was a part of the product and the tech team. I was part of the business development team. Um, uh, it so happened that we left that organization at same point in time. We were sitting together thinking about few things, in normal general life, and the idea striked of investment. Coming from startups, we have all seen wealth, creation of wealth, and we had I come from Chalo, and previous to that I was working with Oyo for good 4.5 years. So I've seen capital coming into my bank account as salary. But the problem which I faced, or which all three of us discussed and see that as a common problem, was that we were never able to find adequate amount of resources to invest our capital. If you look at the market today in India, right, for a retail investor, if you don't have a HNI status and you don't have crores and crores of rupees to invest in, you only have practically two or three options which are limited. Right, one is your normal FDs and RDs with bank, which are very very secured but not very high yield giving. You have your mutual funds, bonds. They are bit secured instruments, but again very volatile because all market related. Then third is equity market, which allows retail investors to step into it, and but again very volatile instrument. You can't predict the upsides and downsides of it. As a retail investor, we felt that there is definitely a need of an alternative investment class which can cater to this demand, and especially for retail investors. For HNI investors, there are multiple things. There are multiple sources of capital generation. There are multiple sources of investment. We wanted to make sure that when any of the retail investors thinks about investing or diversifying their portfolio, they should have some alternative assets in their kitty. And that's how we stumbled upon the or Grips idea was started. First we thought about doing a physical owned property fractionalized investment, but looking at all scenarios of it and giving from the background of our startups, we started to think that startups are all also in a constant need of capital, especially in their asset side of things. And when you put your capital into assets, it is actually parked with a physical, visible, instrument, which is less riskier, less volatile than the equity play, but little high riskier than the FD play. And so it is a middle layer which we are targeting today, of investments and returns. Our product is definitely not as high yield giving as equity, but it's an safer instrument to be investing in, and a high yield giving instrument. Uh, Coming to the lease financing, I think that was the first experiment which we did. Lease financing was our first product. Our
Right.
second product is inventory financing, and now we are getting into multiple alternative asset classes. And with keeping the same thesis in mind, that our end goal is to reach out to as many retail investors as we can and help them build the wealth uh, you know via diversifying their wealth into alternative investments. So that's how we started Grip, and that's where Grip stands today.